Raised beds are heralded as a gardener's secret weapon, promising improved drainage, higher yields, and easier maintenance. Yet, despite their potential, even experienced gardeners sometimes face disappointing results. Crops fail to thrive, soil compacts, and pest or disease problems creep in unexpectedly. Many of these issues are not due to bad luck, but common blunders that can be avoided with historical insight and careful planning. By understanding the mistakes that have ruined raised beds for centuries, you can transform even neglected beds into productive, resilient growing systems capable of sustaining robust plants season after season. Overcompacting soil is the silent killer of raised beds. One of the most overlooked mistakes is soil compaction. Historically, raised beds were designed to lift crops above heavy clay-rich soils, yet gardeners often recreate the same problem by tightly packing soil or walking on the beds. Compacted soil restricts airflow, reduces water infiltration, and suffocates beneficial microbes, leading to weak roots and stunted growth. European and colonial-era gardeners, they recognized that loose, crumbly soil was absolutely key to healthy beds. They would frequently amend their soil with organic matter, straw, or compost to maintain that all-important structure. In practice, it's best to avoid stepping inside raised beds entirely. Instead, use pathways around the perimeter for access and, carefully layer amendments to help maintain loose soil. Incorporating coarse organic matter, like chopped leaves or composted straw, can really create channels for air and water, while also supporting microbial life. Over time, beds that were once dense and unproductive they transform into fertile, well-aerated soil that supports vigorous crops. Even small actions, such as lightly forking the top few inches before planting, can make a measurable difference. Neglecting crop rotation, really accelerates pest and disease problems. A second common blunder is treating raised beds as permanent monocultures. Historically, gardeners rotated crops annually, understanding that pests and diseases tend to build up when the same plant families are repeatedly sown in the same soil. Ignoring this principle in modern raised beds, it can lead to devastating infestations or recurring fungal problems. For practical application, plan a simple rotation system. Divide your beds by plant families, leafy greens in one section, legumes in another, root crops elsewhere. Then rotate these groups each season so that soil-borne pests and pathogens have no continuous host. Companion planting can really amplify this effect. By interplanting aromatic herbs, flowers, or pest-repelling crops, you can reduce insect pressure naturally. Even just a single season of strategic rotation can break pest cycles, preserve soil health, and, dramatically increase productivity in your raised beds. Ignoring soil fertility leads to long-term declines. Raised beds often fail because gardeners assume that filling a bed once with soil is enough to sustain crops indefinitely. But, history tells a different story. Generations of small-scale farmers and homesteaders really understood that soil is a living system that requires continual replenishment. Nutrients are extracted by plants, and without regular amendments, the soil becomes depleted, leaving crops starved despite proper planting and watering. The solution, honestly, is consistent, layered soil care. Incorporate compost, well-aged manure or other organic matter each season to maintain fertility. Applying mulches, green manures or cover crops over winter can protect soil, add organic matter and prevent erosion. Even small steps, like top-dressing beds with a few inches of compost before planting, feed the microbial ecosystem, making nutrients available when plants need them most. Now, looking back, historical practices also included periodic soil resting. Allowing beds to recover while incorporating legumes or clover to fix nitrogen naturally. Following these principles really ensures that raised beds remain productive year after year, rather than declining after only a few seasons. Practical strategies, honestly, make raised beds resilient and productive. Combining loose soil, crop rotation and consistent fertility management, well, that creates a self-sustaining raised bed system. So, to get started, begin by assessing your current beds for compaction and loosening the soil if necessary. Then plan rotations for the upcoming season, alternating plant families and using companion plants to help reduce pests. So, amend soil with compost mulch or green manure, layering nutrients while feeding those all-important microbes. Over time, these steps will rebuild your raised beds into resilient, fertile growing spaces, capable of supporting strong, healthy crops. Historical insight really reinforces that raised beds are not a one-time investment, but rather a system that benefits from thoughtful, ongoing care. Even small gardens, benefit from these strategies. A single raised bed, properly maintained, can yield multiple types of crops over successive seasons, all without chemical intervention. So, applying these principles really does preserve soil life, reduces pest problems, and, well, it ensures that every planting achieves its full potential. Raised beds are powerful tools, but only if they are maintained with knowledge, observation, and care. Avoiding compaction, practicing crop rotation, and maintaining soil fertility, these are the 3 essential steps to prevent failure and, honestly, to unlock the full potential of your garden. Historical gardening practices provide a blueprint for resilient, productive beds. They show us that thoughtful intervention, rather than brute force or shortcuts, leads to truly lasting results. For more historically grounded, practical and highly effective gardening insights, do subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with fellow enthusiasts. Go on, transform neglected beds into thriving, self-sustaining ecosystems and experience the full potential of raised bed gardening today.